Hi, everyone. I just finished an interview with Luna Rose, and after it was complete, we just connected to debrief. And something that came up in our conversation was like a light bulb, moment for me. Well, light bulb moment. It was more like I want to share my perspective with my community about this. So what came up in our conversation was this idea of always having our vibration up. Always thinking positive and thinking about what it is that we want to create in our lives, and keeping, the high vibration as this new age. This is the lingo that we're using. And I believe in that. I believe in focusing on what we want to create in our lives, wielding our attention and having our mind as a compass towards the direction we want to go. And I'm also sensing that this new age wave is doing some sort of, it's from, I'm hearing like a term being said, like a spiritual bypassing of what's happening. And so this kind of like disconnect between, all the bodies that we have, like the spiritual body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body. The way that I see it is that these bodies, in order to live a full life and be in harmony in all of our energy fields, that these bodies need to communicate and be witnessed and welcomed equally. And so there's this thing about thinking positive and manifesting what you want in your life that I believe in, and this other part of me that's like, well, wait a minute, because there are blocked energies inside of me. There are thought patterns that I have that can't be annihilated with a bunch of affirmations. So then it got me thinking, that there's this resistance to going in, because the perception is, if I go into the shadow work, if you want to call it that, or the emotional processing, there's so many terms and ways of looking at it, that there's this idea, this belief that we'll wallow in it, that if we do that kind of work, that we're wallowers, or we're like diggers, and that it's like an endless, it's endless. Well, I think everything is like, it's on a spectrum, right? And life is endless and possibilities are endless. And so my sense is that, yes, we can definitely lean way too much on one side of the spectrum and way too much on the other side, that there is actually a balance to be found. And, this life it has this both sides of things, light and dark, sun and moon, yin and yang, love and hate. And for some reason, there's this, like, the dark side is neglected, or it's pushed away, it's rejected. And I find that really fascinating, because I'm like, but why? We came on this earth to have a human experience. Because if we wanted to have a spiritual experience and be only spirit or souls floating around, then we would have stayed in that realm. But we came to have a human experience. And from whichever background you come from the yogic background, which you see them as, what are they called? I don't know the term exactly. I can't remember. It's escaping me right now. But there's a term for the emotional, like the negative emotional charges that are in the body, or blocked energy, or however you want to see it. This is a part of us. And yes, we're learning to, we're in this new period of humanity that we're learning to see that we're not just those things, and we have awareness and consciousness, and the more that we bring it in, the more light comes in, the more possibilities are present, and we get to manifest our lives because we're discovering that we are pure creators. And we have our baggage or our imprints or our sanskara, something like that in the yogic. It'll come back to me. But yeah, we have this to deal with because I believe that's the human experience. And we are learning and unfolding perfectly in that way. And just like the seasons bring different kinds of energies, more introspective energies, where, if we talk about astrology and the Scorpio, which we're completing today, which is what Luna was sharing with us in the interview, that, it's about death and about truth, like seeing what's really there. Well, we need these seasons to grow, to learn, to expand. And so, yeah, I wanted to bring my perspective on this because I truly believe that we can't have the light without the dark. I mean, we wouldn't appreciate the sun if we didn't have nighttime. We wouldn't appreciate that delicious sense of love and release and pure presence if we didn't know what it felt like to be in that dark, heavy hatred place. And the thing is that we all carry it. No one's an exception. But when we bring them both to consciousness, then we get to choose which one we want to embody and bring into the world and follow and trust and express. But if we don't look at some of the places that are maybe on the darker side, then a lot of really icky things can happen because it's driving with us being aware. And this is when, we behave in ways that all of a sudden we're like, wow, why did I do that? Where did that come from? That's so not like me. Well, the thing is that it is like you because we have all these parts of us. But if they're in the background and we're not looking at them, we're not acknowledging them, and we're not bringing them to light, then they're going to act on their own. And we're going to get blindsided. It has an impact. I know from myself, my personal experience is that when I started touching upon my anger, I was able to feel my pleasure, real pleasure, and not just sexual pleasure, but just joy and the pleasure of feeling safe and the pleasure of being fully expressed. And because my anger was intertwined, that energy was on the same spectrum, and it needed to, and I'm still discovering. I mean, I think this is an endless journey. But oh my goodness, my life, oh my goddess, my life is so much more pleasurable. And my anger also gives me my boundaries. It's the energy to my boundaries. And that has been a gift for myself and for the people around me. It's actually quite refreshing and reassuring when someone claims their boundaries. So those are my thoughts on the light and dark. And I really encourage you to ask yourself, like, how do I feel about exploring with curiosity my what I may think of as negative emotions or these dark sides of me? And do I have the courage to look at them and welcome them and learn from them and then get to choose who I get to be and the energy that I express and bring into the world? I would love to read your comments and get your input and your perspective on this conversation. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day. Mwah. Bye.